folks, I want to call a special town council meeting of May 15th, 2019 to order with a moment of silent meditation and salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first up, it looks like discuss, consider land trust stewardship fund restrictions. Let's see. I know you sent me.
Yeah. You want a copy of it?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Is this it? It says budget memorandum, is that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good, thank you. All right, so I guess, the funding comes from the clerk's revenue, what do we allocate? Was it 10,000 this year? Up to 10,000?
No, 15.
It's 15, okay, we did extra, okay. All right, so the funding for the town, for the land trust should not exceed 15,000 in any fiscal year. Funding shall be solely restricted to land stewardship under the land trust land management plan. Funding shall only be authorized after purchases are made or services have been rendered. Funding should not be used for any legal fees. Funding shall be reflected in the town clerk's budget as revenue and the capital improvement plan for recording purposes, then set aside in a special revenue reserve account with funds deposited in the local bank. The amount of real estate conveyance tax revenue transferred from the town clerk's office to the land trust shall be reviewed annually by the Hopkinton Town Council. The town's annual budget shall include a notation that reflects the transfer of funds from the town clerk's operating budget to the capital improvement plan. Funds shall be...
Do you want to go down one by one, rather than we're going to have to go back?
Oh, okay.
So maybe we'll just deal with the first one, and is there anything to change, and then go on down.
Yeah, I think, is this, as far as the stewardship, I know, Marilyn, we had placed restrictions, right, on what you could spend the money on, and you wanted that relaxed to not have that, so I guess...
I mean, it kind of comes down a little bit to an interpretation of stewardship.
Yeah.
We kind of think of almost everything we do as stewardship. I mean, legal fees.
That's right, yeah.
Often we have to call on the lawyer to, to intervene in a problem we're having.
Operating expenses.
That's stewardship.
Yeah. No,
So-
I agree.
Yeah, no, I just want to get in a place where what we have in place now and what you want going forward. So I know there was some restrictions placed. If we can take those restrictions and just take them one by one and just, I guess...
I think there's only two.
Oh, there's
just
only
to
two,
simplify things.
Okay.
I think there's only, in the list it says, it says the sole, shall be solely restricted for land stewardship. And then the next two items down is can't be used for legal fees.
Oh, okay.
I think those are really the only two
Okay.
that I think they're looking to.
So basically, one can use the money for anything other than purchasing land.
That,
Yeah. Sounds okay for now?
that works.
Yeah.
If it's still managed the way it is now, which is put in a separate account that Brian established, then if we receive grant money that is reimbursable, the auditors don't want us to take out of that account. They want us to take it out of our Citizens Bank account, which is the originally established restricted account. So if that account goes down to zero, then we're limited on receiving grants because we can't spend.
But that had a fair amount in it, right? The Citizens one?
It's down to $6,000.
Oh, okay. Which one? The other one was like 135 or something. I forget which one.
That one is land purchase
Oh,
money.
okay.
It's money that came from a bond that was back when Jim, Lathrop was finance director. He had some left from a bond and then put it in that, which is in the ordinance that defines the land trust. It states that the finance director shall invest monies for the land trust.
So it's really legal fees and stewardship.
So just a little bit of clarification, that they want you to reimburse the funds into the same account that the funds came out of. So if you're convoluting and you're using, if they use some stewardship money to pay for grant expenses and then some unrestricted money, what they don't want you to do is circumvent the restrictions. So basically using stewardship money with restrictions, then get reimbursed on the grant and put it into your unrestricted account. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's a way that like people could circumvent the restrictions you put in place.
But that's from an auditing standpoint, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
So what they're proposing tonight, would that affect anything, I guess?
It would definitely be having to track those where the money came from when they're getting grant, when they're buying, when they're spending money on grant funds.
Okay.
Because if they take it out of separate accounts, when they get reimbursed for the grant, it's got to go back in all those accounts, right? So this would just put it all into one non-restricted account, which they could then just reimburse into that same account.
Okay. So from an auditing standpoint, if we did that, that would be okay?
It would probably simplify things, yeah.
So, for a memorandum that would be signed and dated, where I had said, you know, anything other than purchases of land, maybe we should just, I mean, that's one cruise, but we don't know if you're just gonna be like, maybe we should just say for operating expenses? I don't know, maybe that's even easier and clearer.
No. But if the funds, rather than being put in this separate account that Brian established, if it went right into our citizens account, if that can be done within any definitions that.
So, yeah, so
And you're talking about.
That would clear up
Yeah,
both of them.
Yeah, and you're talking about the money from the clerk's revenue.
Yeah.
Okay. So what she's suggesting, Brian, is that?
Yeah.
From an auditing standpoint?
Yeah, it'd be fine.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, because right now I track the money that comes from Lisa's office for the tax conveyance fees.
Right.
And that has to be in a separate account. And what happened was they were spending that money to basically buy stuff that was going to be reimbursed by a grant. So that became a problem because then they're like, okay, well you just got to go back into that account. So it would just put everything into one account, and then, you know, that would make things a little bit simpler. But again, if the account that's set up now that we would be consolidating into the citizens account is an unrestricted account.
Okay.
So if you did put the funds in there, they'd have to be unrestricted, or else it would be a bigger mess, because then we'd have different funds in one bank, you know what I mean? So you want to remove the restrictions and put it in
Yeah,
there.
so what do you do now, Merrill, if you have any legal fees, where do you take it from?
We've been taking it from the citizen
Citizen
account.
one, okay.
So are you saying that you want those two things that are on this budget memorandum removed or changed? It said, the first one that you
Yes.
picked out was funding shall be solely restricted to land stewardship. I don't know what the definition of stewardship is, but I assume,
it's operating.
well, maybe
It's
not
not
put that in
purchase or
parentheses,
land.
but I guess you're talking about restricted and not restricted and all of that. So did you want these funds to be restricted to anything? Then why are you using that word? That's what I'm saying.
This is old. This is an old
This is
document.
dated 2015, we'd like to update this.
Okay, right, so you really want this changed?
Right.
That's what,
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
right.
So what do you want it changed to?
I think that if the funds can go into the citizens account, this is not necessary.
Right.
But that's,
Because we'll spend our funds the way we have been for 18 years.
So the second one will disappear, the third one will disappear, or yeah, so they're not going to be, yes, so they're not going to be restricted.
It's really
They have their monies for land purchases, that's fine. The legal fees and stewardship and all these things, one account and operating, it's all operating.
Yeah, I guess you're
So
right.
you guys choose whether you need legal or not. know.
so you want to get rid of that funding shall be solely restricted, that goes away?
That goes away, yep.
And then, and the fourth one, funding shall not be used for any legal fees, that goes away?
Yeah, they want to, yeah, just.
All right, so then you leave the one in between that, funding shall only be authorized.
Yes.
That's
That doesn't sound right, though.
That's the way we operate.
Yeah, that's the way.
We always bring an invoice
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
and everything's vouchered through
Mhm.
Brian's office.
Yeah, the only
But that
problem,
does sound funny, that you're gonna spend the money and then we authorize it. That doesn't make sense. We should authorize it before you spend the money.
No, that's not how-
But,
no, they're a
but I know
separate
that's,
entity, so, yeah. You
It
guys are a
just sounds
separate
funny.
entity essentially with the spending of money.
Yeah.
You have your own, you have your own authority
well,
to do
who is
that.
authorizing this? When, in this old memorandum, who would be authorizing it?
My office would, when they brought in expenses, as long as the money's there, they can, and there's no restrictions on it, they can spend out whatever they want, as long as the money's there. They can't they can't overspend their budget, but that's the way the whole town works. If we approve it through the budget process, so they don't have to get it approved again, they would basically, if it's in their budget, they can spend it, right? As long as it's on the line item, categorized appropriately.
Okay, so basically what this line is saying that funding shall only be authorized after purchases are made or services have been rendered, is that you're not gonna give them any upfront money without a receipt.
Exactly. We're not gonna say, if they wanna go say, oh, we're gonna go buy something, we're gonna, here's $1,000.
Yeah,
Bring us the
yeah.
receipt. No, they have to spend it, bring us the
It's the
invoice.
same way we do business.
Yeah, in town, yep.
Okay, okay.
so what are you gonna delete
And
here?
shouldn't we say who is authorizing them? I mean, to make it clear, funding shall only be
It's
authorized
the third and the fifth one.
by the, whatever that, financial director, or whatever you want to call it, the finance department, or,
Mhm.
I mean, we need to know who is authorizing, because it's not her, right? She's already spent it.
Authorizing what?
When you use the word authorized,
Well, yeah,
by who?
That goes to my office.
Goes to
It
Bill.
goes to Brian, and then it comes to me for signature.
Okay, but don't you think that should be listed there? I mean, it's not clear right now.
Well,
I don't know who's the author, who's the authorizing body.
well,
It says, if you continue to read down, it explains it. It says the land trust shall voucher its expenses through the town's finance office.
Thank you, that's it.
That's,
Maybe that line
That's
should be
way
up
down.
there.
It's like
Yeah,
the
it's so
third
far
one.
away, I see
and
it.
then there'll be no deficit spending
Okay,
is the next one. So that kind of
Okay.
answers both.
okay. Well, is it possible? I just,
they're all
Alright.
grown up now, they've matured, you know, it's like, they can handle it.
Matter of fact,
yeah, I know, I just was wondering if
so
it
now,
could be moved up near that authorization line, but that's all right.
And so any language you need to change from a finance in reference to the bank accounts, you can come up with the language.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And then you'll have a new memorandum.
So from your perspective, you can just kind of recap it, you know, the citizens accounts get low, and that seems to be a concern. And you've been using that for operating, I guess, Marilyn?
Yeah.
Okay. And no other accounts were used for operating, is that what were any other accounts used for operating expenses, I guess?
Not recently. I mean, this, this stewardship account, what we call it, in part of the town budget,
Okay.
has for, operating in terms of,
You mean from the clerk's revenue?
yes.
Okay, all right. So, all right, 6.5 doesn't mean that, it sounds like, if we just, if it's okay to put it, all the revenue from the clerk into the citizens account, that'll solve it. Am I correct?
So,
Yes.
there's one question. The fourth one down, where it says, it won't be used for legal fees or land purchase. And appraisal, where does that belong, would you think? When they need to do an appraisal, is that part of the land, or is that part of operating?
We've had this.
Right, I'm sure you have.
Sounds like it's operating.
What do you
right?
two think? Yeah.
I think we've been able to use it as operating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an expense to
It's more directly related to land purchases than, plus some of the legal fees are.
Right.
And surveys
Yeah.
are directly related to land purchases. But we did have a discussion about whether the bond money actually allows
Oh,
for us to pay for those out.
So would you two come up with?
It's clearer if we just,
Leave it
if
and
we,
operate.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. if we
Yeah,
pay
So
us.
appraisals will be
Yeah.
allowed in.
Yeah, we got a little more wiggle room with the unrestricted account than we do with the bond proceeds, because there's a lot of
Maybe we
disclosure
should-
agreements on what we can use that money for when you get the bond. So you don't really wanna mess, you know, you wanna use it for land purchases. The only thing we use that money for is land purchases and the cost of issuance to purchase that land.
Could you put a statement in there that the operating includes legal fees, appraisals, or just the appraisal, for sure? I mean,
Yeah, we can,
it makes it perfectly clear.
There's so many things, there's so many things to it, I don't know if you can list them all.
All right.
So I don't know, do you want the thing about the appraisal, or you're not concerned about it, because you'll just deal with it
No, just-
operating?
Appraisal, not, legal fees, not,
Yeah.
but surveys can be very expensive.
Yes.
We had one done on a property and it was $18,000. So
Wow,
that seems like,
Can that,
That should be
it
part of
would
the
be
land
nice if we
purchases.
could get that from
I
the,
hope so, geez.
from the bond money.
well, that would, that's part of purchasing it.
That's
right?
right.
Right? I would think that the bond money
Yes.
would be able to be used with bond money, because it's part of purchasing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what.
yeah, it's
Brian
definitely
said.
a gray area. And I don't wanna like sit here and say definitively one way or another, because I'm not an expert. Like, we have a bond counsel that I would bounce this off of
Right.
to make sure that, you know, we're not going against, you know, the verbiage in the bond documents, basically what the voters, the town voters approved the money for. So I'd have to review, you know, and come up, but I think this, for the sole purpose of this, I think they just wanna remove, they wanna be able to use it for legal fees and appraisal. So if you just eliminate, shall not be used for legal fees, and then you change land stewardship, the sole, should be this, number 2 down, should be funding shall be solely restricted to land stewardship. It should just say, for operations, you know,
Restricted to
strictly for land operations, land trust operations.
yeah,
And then the 2 down from that, you would go to the funding shall not, you just eliminate the one that says the legal
legal
fees.
fees, right.
And then I can clean up the rest to make sure it all jives, but those are the 2 restrictions that they're looking
And we
for.
don't have to mention about the citizen stuff, or that's just a given that that's what that accounts for. We don't have to specify that, right?
Yeah, I can edit that, that's like the next one down, it's like talking about the town clerk's revenue, capital improvements,
And to a lower
in a
value.
special revenue reserve account. I would just change that to say the unrestricted land trust account.
Operating. in-
Yeah.
Okay.
That fourth one down, I know you'll work on this, and you want to, rather than just say funding, you want to make sure everybody understands it's operating funds shall not be used for land purchases. So, I mean,
Yes.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's gotta be kept separate, which it is anyway.
Yeah, and it, just as a point of interest, I did a lot of research on the history of the funding.
Yeah.
And I believe that the first land that was protected was taken from the citizens account because there was not a bond at that point in time. It was not an outright purchase, it was a conservation easement. But it goes back to like probably 2002 or 3.
I guess, I think we're all in agreement, I think, right, with that change?
All right, good.
It'll help you out, I guess, help Ryan out.
So you're authorized to come up with that, right?
Yeah.
You can sign it.
Okay. All right, Marilyn?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Next up, I guess, discuss revised proposed fiscal year 2019-2020 budget. Do we have any real changes, Brian?
No changes.
No changes.
Barbara?
You're good.
Barbara Capello had mentioned, and we need to talk about it, whether or not the ambulance, the Ashway ambulance should receive the same amount the same increase the Hope Valley got. So Hope Valley's in the budget is at 52,000, and Ashaway Ambulance is at 50,000. And I've been thinking about it. I know the ambulance obviously has had ups and downs, but tradition-wise, the ambulances, like the libraries, always, to make it fair, always receive the same amount. And I'd like to start with our best foot forward, and hopefully their best foot forward, and let them have that 52,000. So that's where I am. So I was just hoping we could do that for that.
My feeling is, you know, there was a history. My father was, and this is purpose of full disclosure, my father was always opposed to them building next to his property, and there was some acrimony, and I know that Eric Perrin said some unpleasantries to me last night and initiated it, but my feeling is this town council is required to demand accountability. We demand accountability from landowners, and we have a responsibility to the taxpayers of this town that are in different situations, that we demand accountability because we have the power of government to hold people accountable, to make serious judgments on people's lives. And the difference is very small, but I'm not going to agree to it. I'm going to tell you why. The Ashway Ambulance Association went to the voters of the Ashway Fire District, which is a taxing authority. So I and other people that live in the Ashway Fire District are supporting the Ashway Ambulance Corps twice. I don't know what's going to happen next year. We supported through our tax dollars to the Ashway Fire District, which they got 50 grand this fiscal, the fire district's fiscal year, and they get 50 grand from the town of Hopkinton. Now I know that the Hope Valley Ambulance gets money from the town of Richmond as well as the town of Hopkinton. But I think that small difference is really not that relevant, but I think the town of Hopkinton has to put their foot down. I think that when you don't do reports, which you agree to the town government, and the town government didn't go after the Ashway Ambulance Association for not doing those reports. And we had the treasurer, Mr. Perrin, was here, and he said that he didn't know they was the person that handles that financial things didn't know they did the reports. And I think that's very strange. You hire somebody to do a job, and you're the treasurer of an organization, or you're members of the board of directors of that association, you pretty well damn should know the people you contract or hire to do work for you, whether or not they're doing their job. Now here we are, the town council of this town, and we're expected to do a job for the people of Hopkinton, and we're expected to hold people accountable. And I don't think we should be lax on it. I don't think we should be lax on it when we deal with people who are doing development in this town. I don't think we should be lax on it with people that we give grants and contributions to in this town or anything else. And I'm opposed to increasing it. It's a very small amount of money anyways, but I think the time is to put our foot down. The Ashway Ambulance Association has more than ample time to get their act together. And I'm going to vote against it if it comes to it be increased. Thank you.
I have my thoughts on it, I'll let you go. Okay. So, I think that the last time during the budget process we talked with Eric, he didn't send in the reporting requirements for whatever reason. And I think we were all in agreement. I think at that time I was willing to try and relax those because it was costing them a little bit extra money to do those. But I think we were all in agreement, if I'm not mistaken, that we wanted that ongoing reporting requirements to still be in place until 30 days, I think, after the fiscal year. And then we were going to look at perhaps relaxing those reporting requirements to maybe semi-annually instead of quarterly. So that being said, you know, giving them more money when they haven't really satisfied the reporting requirements doesn't really make a whole heck of a lot of sense. and that was what I expressed to Barbara when she was here during the budget process. I mean, I understand it's not a lot of money, but again, any increase that we give, any increase we put in tonight will directly affect the tax rate. Not by a lot, but it will affect it very minimally. Right now, we're at 80 cents per thousand, and you know, I don't think Eric, I think he was more concerned with the reporting requirements being relaxed than getting more money because of what Scott had said about the extra money came from the fire district. So, you know, I don't think they're in a position to get more money. I don't think they're on the same par as Hope Valley, who's really operated a very, very good ambulance corps for many, many, many years and still continues to do so. So they're really not on the same level, in my opinion, and I think Eric knows that. So yeah, I can't support $2,000 more. I will relax the requirements if they satisfy them 30 days after the fiscal year. So it'll save them some money, and I think that's really what Eric was looking for. I don't think he was looking for more money in his allocation. So that's where I stand. I think it's fine where it stands. And I understand the historical, you know, perspective from Sylvia. We've always just give the same amount, but they're really not on the same level. You know, they haven't been for some time now. Maybe with this extra funding from the fire district they will be, but they're just not quite there yet. So that's my thoughts. So.
Excuse me, Frank. Can I ask a question?
Yeah, let me finish this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so.
Clerk, Ms. Davis.
I thought that they said, I wasn't here, but I thought that they said, the last time, but anyway, I thought that they said that it was costing them a lot of money to do these reports,
$600 a year, actually.
$600.
$50 a month. So I was willing to relax that after the next time that we requested the information, which was 30 days after the fiscal year, this fiscal year. And so I think Eric was looking for us to do that. He at no point in time mentioned any more money from the council. He was more interested in having those requirements relaxed because it's costing them a little bit more money, and I think it's really also affecting their operating expenses. So, you know, for me, I think it was pretty clear that from him anyway, and he's the treasurer, that he wanted that to happen more so, because he never mentioned any increased allocation. So during that budgetary process.
Okay.
So,
I will vote for not increasing.
all right. So we have.
I don't think we need a motion.
No. Anybody have any comments on this, Joe?
I just have a question because I heard Eric twice say that he was not aware of the situation with getting the reports, and Bill was very clear, and then it happened the second time. He also mentioned about the $600, but when you're looking at a $50,000 budget and you're just requiring $600, that didn't seem like a major issue. What I really have an issue with, he was really indignant to Scott, because Scott was questioning Eric about some particular things. And it was almost like he was saying, well, why are you questioning me about that? And that's, as you all know, that's your job, is to question, you know, to help protect the taxpayers as well as the town. They're getting $50,000 and you can't ask questions of him. And it just seemed like he just wanted the money. And
There's quite a history there, but
Yeah.
you know, so, but yeah, no, I understand, Joe. Thanks. Yeah, yeah. It's well within our purview to obviously ask the questions, and again, I'm all about relaxing the requirements, helping them out, but they haven't really fulfilled the initial requirements. So it's like, you know, anyway. So.
Sounds like he's paying for initial requirements that he's not getting the service for, so he should go for a refund.
Yeah. You know, yeah. So anyway, but so that's that. I guess. Any other requests from the budgetary process? Anything from you, Bill, Brian? Anything?
When is, so we're all set with going over the cap as far as the auditor general goes?
Yeah.
The thing is, and I just want to make a statement that whether you're an organization that seeks funding from the town or you're a town department head or anything else, we're dealing with taxpayers in this town of various income levels that are in different financial situations, and including a school district that the town council has no control over their budget. And it's very important to realize that some people have an easy time paying their property taxes, other people have probably, you call it, medium ability to pay their taxes, and people really have a tough time paying their property taxes. And if anybody listens to this video, I just hope that they consider, if they feel they're entitled to it, to get whatever exemptions or tax consideration they're entitled to. That's something that they should be looking into in the future. Thank you.
All right, any other questions on the budget?
I just had if you can easily get the answer, and I don't need it tonight, I was just gonna ask, the debt service, I wonder what % that was of our budget?
Just give me a minute, I'll get back to you.
All right, and then while Brian's looking that up, I guess the next item is discuss revised proposed warrant item. Number 1, to authorize the use of $51,000 in the off-site improvements fees restricted account number 02-014 to earmark it for purpose of townwide tree removal of potentially dangerous trees. This account's been dormant since, geez, I don't know, 18 years or so. It was like impact fees on a certain development off of Skunkill Road near me, and it hasn't been used for any of the improvements, I guess, sidewalks or whatever. So we obviously have a serious tree issue. We had, I think the town council allocated enough money, about 75 to 78,000 for 97 trees, somewhere in that range, and this would certainly, I guess, either offset some of that or potentially add to that. I'm not sure which, but
It was offset.
yeah.
Yeah, it was gonna reduce the amount of fund balance.
Okay, all right. So yeah, so I think it's
I think it's a good,
I think it is too.
Good
I
use of
think it
money.
is too. So, anyone else have any questions, concerns on that? Okay.
The only thing we have to note is that even with the passage of this, it's not going to solve our damaged and dead tree problem in town, but it's going to put a dent in it.
At least the more serious ones anyway.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So let's discuss, consider, and vote to adopt the fiscal year 2019-2020 budget and warrant item for June 11th, 2019 budget referendum ballot.
And that's the one from the present year, if the people reject this budget, it reverts back to the previous year, if I remember correctly.
Yes, except for the school and state
Yeah.
aid, and yeah, it's in the contract. Yeah, warrant items, and also, I believe our CIP and the use of fund balance, those can all be changed still.
So the new warrant item would, the warrant item from last year doesn't carry on to this year, if the other one's rejected, of course.
I don't think it was.
No.
I don't know what warrant item was.
No, I mean, the
Yeah.
warrant item here is, if,
So if this one is rejected,
Well, it's rejected, it is.
yeah,
it's
but
a
it's,
separate.
it's not going to be,
it's voted.
it's going to be a vote on the budget and then a vote on the warrant.
Yes, okay.
But this is just for you as council to
So that's-
discuss, consider. and
We have to
vote on.
adopt, we have to.
Right, and I mean, with, just to answer your question, if the budget were ever to get rejected, we'd still have to pay, if the tax rate would still be increased, because it would have to be increased by the state aid, the decrease in state aid and the increase in school education. So essentially, really would, I mean, I have to do the numbers, but it's still gonna be pretty simple. That's the only thing we're using, increasing the tax rate on. 80 cents is directly related to the school, and that's, right, and those would still be increased if, right.
Well, if I was clearly thinking, I would have known the warrant is separate from the regular budget, so. But anyways, I think it's a good budget. I think it's a credit to the town council that we work together. And I want to thank Bill McGarry and you, or Mr. Rosso, for your work, and thank all the town employees as well as our boards and commission members. I appreciate Lisa, for our town clerk, for having the back of the town council as much as she does. And Kevin McAllister, who's not here, our town solicitor. Did I get everybody?
Pretty much.
And I'd like to say, as a new member and having gone through this process for the first one, absolutely the town of Hopkinton is very efficient in spending their money. There's no fat in the budget.
We're cheap.
Yes.
As your
No,
first
it's
cheap.
really, really, I think you guys have done a great job, and I just wish we could have more influence on the school budget. It would appear that that's really where we should try to
Absolutely.
put our efforts. Okay?
Yeah. All right, does anybody out in the public have any questions about the budget? Yes, sir.
Well, I was just trying to, the warrant item, the 51,000 for the trees, is that going, like you said, that was going to
Separate.
amend or reimburse the 72 that's listed in the CIP?
It's part of
It's gonna
It's good, yeah.
offset some of that.
So, yeah, offset it?
Yeah.
So, does that just lower the amount that is planned on being spent in the CIP, or is that difference going to be offset somewhere else?
It goes back in the fund balance?
Goes back in the
Yeah,
fund
so
balance?
we're using, right now, we're using just under, like, pretty much $500,000 of fund balance this year. So it would reduce it by that amount. So, but you're right, the CIP, the amount needed for the CIP would reduce by 50, which is an expense. So when you lower the expense, it's going to lower our revenue, which is coming from fund balance.
Does that have any impact on tax rate, or no? No.
Well, the thing to think about too is.
Because that's what we've allocated that money for.
Right. So, and follow-on question, I think as I've mentioned before, I'm part of the 1904 building committee.
Oh, okay.
And we are desperately trying to find the funding to keep up with the growing cost of what's going to take to demolish that building. We haven't had a meeting recently to kind of get all together and
You know they're meeting next door, right?
In my office.
Oh. Well, anyway, they're in the other one.
They
They're in the
started
club.
at 7. They started at 7.
all right, I'll go over there and be like, yeah, I just don't. But yeah, no.
Well, the other thing too is when we have 2 pots of money for a purpose, we're gonna go out to bid for these trees, and if we have a line item, whatever, if you're going out to bid on something, you got a line item, you got $100,000, guess what they're gonna bid? I
Right.
mean, you know, maybe it'll be 99,000. So we don't know what the bids are gonna come in, so we don't know that the 51 will completely offset the capital, but we've got 2 pots of money to take care of the emergencies.
Gotcha.
And so we'll see what it ends up costing.
Yeah, I think the latest quote from that is about 300,000 or something I heard.
Well, let's not talk about one now. Somebody's gonna bid on this.
Oh, no, I'm talking about the 1904.
Oh!
Yeah, so, just, I think you were at the budget meeting when we left the 135,000.
Right,
So
right.
we didn't use that to offset any increase because we knew how expensive the demolition was gonna be.
Right, and just kind of, if there's anything left over from the trees, or if we do end up just using it all to address more issues, just trying to figure out if there's a little bit more in the pot of money that hasn't been allocated that we can
Well,
just
there's
kind of
1,000
steal.
this
Yeah.
money, the 72 is just going to address 97.
Right,
So that's only 1/10 of the problem.
yeah.
Number one. And one question for you, is there any possibility that you could, instead of demolishing that building, renovate it for offices?
We haven't, no,
Wait a minute.
don't even ask that question.
I'm new, so I'm asking a question.
Yeah, no, in short. There is
Because-
no possibility. The condition of it, the proximity to the school, the expense, take your pick.
It's
We've
not-
done 2
well,
feasibility
it doesn't have a
studies.
sprinkler system, all sorts of
$3.5
things.
million was one to bring it up to the office, because ADA accessibility, asbestos, it's just not even in the ballpark.
Yeah.
We've done 2
So we
studies
have
we paid
looked at
for.
that.
Okay, well, yeah, but I
But
didn't
that's
know.
okay, I'm just letting you know the question.
So-
That's a good question.
Yeah, it's, yeah,
I
I
mean,
wish there was.
the reason I said that is, I don't know, how old is that building?
Well,
So, no, because I work at Pleasant Street Baptist Church, and we have 4 other buildings, and they range from 1915. And they're still, we have them lead abated. And we're still
Yeah.
paying for that, but we did do lead abatement, and now we rent it out to people who are in homeless, trying to transition through the warm shelter, by the way. And so, it's just because it's old doesn't mean it can't be renovated,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it's the price you have to
right,
pay.
no.
Well, that plus the proximity to this elementary
Well,
school.
so, but if it's an office building, what's wrong with
Yeah, it's, the kids are there, the young
that?
kids.
So,
And
okay.
the administration, the teachers don't want, they want it knocked down.
Well, it's the cost, that's the bottom line. It's excessive amount of money.
Okay, well, I have to ask the question.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So that's that.
All right.
Any other questions, folks, on the budget?
As far as the debt on percent on the budget,
I got it.
would what would the
Yep,
thinking
thank you.
be? A percent
Thanks, man.
toward the municipal budget or a percent toward the school and the town expense? So you want to get a handle.
Maybe I'll answer your first question. So it's 1.6% of our $26.4 million budget,
Okay.
but it's
What was that again? How much?
1.6%. But it's 6.5% of our municipal budget. So we take out the school and,
Still relatively very low.
Right.
yeah, which is a good thing because we just got our bond rating. I don't know how brought up to speed on that you guys were, but we got a really good bond rating. And we were able to get a really good rate on the land trust bond.
What
So-
was the rate?
The rate was, it's a little
I
bit,
know it fluctuates, but.
yeah, it does fluctuate. I can give you a composite. Let me just find it. It was in the 2s.
Oh boy, there's trouble.
Right, can I talk to Bill for a second? Hey, Bill, before you leave, can you stop in?
Sure.
Thank you.
Just bought maple syrup.
What's that?
So it's like 2.7.
Wow.
2.7 are, yeah, all in true interest cost. That's what it is. And our true interest cost is actually like 2.45. When we factor in the cost of issuance.
It's expensive, getting the bond.
Going for public offerings is really expensive.
Closing costs, and debt service.
The Moody's rating is expensive too.
Right. Yeah, let's, just the very last sentence there, Sharon. Just to adopt.
That I make a motion to adopt the fiscal year 2019-2020 budget and warrant item for the June 11, 2019 budget referendum ballot.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Any further discussion, folks? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
We have a
Motion to
motion.
adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you.